Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. This is Pastor Dow. I thought I'd come on here this morning because I've had it deeply pressed in my heart for some time, but I quite didn't get a release until now to actually start talking about it just a little bit more. If you follow me over the years, you know I've been very instrumental in talking about the conditions, the natural, what they call quote unquote natural disasters, and how today it's literally funny how that no matter what goes on in this world, nobody ever wants to touch that the reason why we have volcanoes going off, flooding in all kind of places, flooding on the East Coast, burning up on the West Coast, tsunamis, earthquakes, typhoon, and all this is taking place right here, right now, in the time that we're living in. And it seems that man has this uncanny ability to be able to adjust his mind, to exclude judgment, righteous judgment from his own heart. That's because we've been conditioned here in America. Because you can't depend on the news media to tell you that you need to live a righteous life, that you need to live a holy life. And the reason why all of this is coming up on this world, regardless of what form of belief or unbelief that you have, there's a historical record, a historical book out that clearly tells us what happens to a nation when they forsake the Most High and they forget righteousness, and they allow immorality and perversion and feminism and all this homosexuality and all this other type of free spirit stuff. You bring divine judgment upon the land. And America's chickens have definitely come home to roost. So you're not going to have your preachers today to tell you that what's going on down the Mississippi, the flooding of Katrina, and all of these things that are going on, earthquakes. I mean, just all over the place, just literally tearing up the whole entire earth. The earth is reeling, shaking, rocking to and fro. The North Pole being moved off its axis. We always attribute this to heart, some other excuse, but nobody ever wants to attribute it because the truth is this world is wicked. This world is under serious divine judgment. And because people have chose to exclude truth from their own conscience, chose to exclude the creator from their own conscience, you know, this makes people feel better. Because when you read this book, the first thing it does is it shows you your sin condition. And then it tells you, it gives you what you need to do about it. But people don't want to do that. People don't want to actually admit that they're born in sin, shaped in iniquity. You know, everybody believes that they have some type of inherent good within them. But yet and still we have over thousands of years right here, historical documented what happens to people when they listen and when they don't. So in Noah's days, what happened? Noah was a preacher of righteousness, preacher 120 years. I haven't even touched that. I've only been preaching 20 years. And I'm a preacher of righteousness. So what I stand for, it's righteousness. And of course, you know, very few of the people are going to hear it. Can you imagine that only 8 people out of the whole entire earth, after 120 years of preaching, heard what Noah had to say? They heard enough and they moved enough with fear to prepare an ark. So while everybody else was running to and fro, living their lives in luxury, having a good time, living a life of ease, being in feminine, there were some other people that were out working, getting it done, getting themselves prepared. And they wasn't working to sustain their own little selfish life. They were working because they were preparing a place of safety. They were working, they were preparing a place so that if somebody wanted to come, they could come. But we saw that as time continued to go on, people end up despising Noah, and they didn't want to come into the ark of safety. I'm going to talk to you about something here early this morning that you're not going to hear in your churches. You're definitely not going to hear on CNN, Fox News, ABC, and NBC. And you're definitely not going to hear the majority of people telling you why, preaching on the street corner. You see, America is under divine judgment. And there's no way that we can escape it. Look at what's happening in our country. Look at the record snowfalls, the rains. Look and see all the people who are losing their home, the tornadoes that are just ripping through the majority of the country that has the greatest population. Somebody said, well, Pastor Dow, well, what is going on? Well, I'm going to tell you what's going on. It's sin. It's sin. America's chickens have come home to roost. And see, whereas America can physically look at an enemy and make people enemies and stuff, let me tell you something. There ain't no way you can fight against the judgment of the Most High. So I'm here this morning to try to articulate something that you're not going to hear in your churches. Let's use the example of Job. You'll hear these preachers in these Baptist churches, because I'm familiar with Baptist churches. The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Well, I don't believe in none of that hogwash and garbage like that, because my Bible don't teach me that the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. What my Bible teaches me is that blessings fall on the just as well as the unjust. In every good and perfect gift, it come from above. Now, in Job's situation, did the Lord give and did the Lord take away? Well, I saw the Lord giving, or what you call the Lord, I saw him giving every good gift to Job. But it was not him. It was not the Most High Yah that took it away. Oh, did he allow things to happen? Yeah, but it was not his direct hand that caused the taking away of Job's substance or his family. When you go read the account, read the story, see, that's the one thing we don't like doing here in America. We don't like reading. If you go read Job, the first chapter, you'll find out that there was the Satan and there was the Most High. The Satan, Satan, came to the Most High, and then the Most High said to Satan, have you considered my servant Job? And then, of course, the story. Oh, yeah, you got a hedge built up around about him, okay? Yeah, but let me go touch his substance. I guarantee he will curse you. And of course, what's going on now? Because America's under judgment, and guess what? Our substance are being touched. Our homes, our lifestyles, the things that we've trusted in, uncertain riches, they're all starting to erode. Flying under the radar, there's this sentiment of fear, deep concern, because people do not know what to do. So Satan left from the presence of the Most High, and he went and he proceeded to take the substance of Job. Well, anyway, after a time, he found out that Job was unyielding, unrelenting. He wasn't going to give up. He went back. Now, mind you, understand this. In the eternal kingdom and all that is going on in the world, Job had no idea that the Most High and Satan was communicating. He didn't understand what was going on. He just didn't get it. He did not get it whatsoever at all. So what happened? Satan ends up back into the presence of the Most High again. And he said, skin for skin, hit him with sicknesses, smite him with diseases. Wow. You think about this for a second. So Satan leaves the presence of God, but God gives him a warning, the Most High Yah did, and said, don't touch his life. Do not touch his life. So Satan leaves. And the first thing he does is he smite Job. Now listen to this, husband and wives. You need to go read the account for yourself. I want you to listen real close. The next thing that happens, Job gets smitten with boils. Just disease from the top of his head to the sole of his foot. Listen to me very closely. Next thing you know, these spirits speak through his wife and said, look at this. Curse Yah and die. Of course, then Job, being a righteous man, he turned around and he said this, you speak as one of the foolish women do. Most men today don't have the testicular fortitude to stand up to their wives and talk to them like that, because they have been stripped of all authority, because they have allowed themselves to be stripped. And we wonder why come the homes are broken up, because we've bitten of the fruit of lies of this society. You have feminine preachers who are not going to stand up and rebuke you and reprove you and correct you and tell you what you need to do. So therefore, we're in a sharp decline in this country. The conditions of Sodom and Gomorrah is right here up on this earth right now. Do we not have a lot of idleness of time? Are we not a very effeminate generation who would go out of our way for soft clothing? Do we not have men run around with long hair down the middle of their back, which history clearly records that men who have long hair, especially down the middle of their back, you know what they used to be? They used to be temple prostitutes. But today we look at it as some type of vanity thing. See, you're not being taught this stuff in these churches. And you know the reason why your church is not going to teach it to you? Because they want you to stay in there and continue to pay your tithes and offering. So they have to cater to you. And so there are certain things they refuse to tell you. They're not going to tell you to keep the commandments. They're not going to tell you to keep the Sabbath day because they know that means you will get up out of those churches and you will go to the church of your choice. Which truth, you'll go to the damnation of your choice. And so you people out there have manipulated the preachers, have manipulated the system in order to find places, and you strengthen the hand of wicked man because you yourself live wicked and vile. Of course, we would never say that because, see, we're not students of the word. We don't believe this stuff. And that's the reason why we're in trouble today. So there's a divine judgment that's going on right now here in America. In 2004, somewhere along that time frame, I stood up in the pulpit and out of my mouth in the middle of the service, all of a sudden, here I am preaching and teaching, minding my own business, and all of a sudden I stop and say, we are in the beginning of sorrows. And boy, have we not sorrowed from that point. Each and every year, it has escalated. The judgments. See, nobody wants to tell you that we're on divine judgment. What they always want to say, it's a natural disaster. You know what I mean? We don't know what's going on. It's hard. Now, well, I do believe that you know, their man has got his hand in a lot of things. I'm not going to exclude from my mind and my conscience the truth of what these scriptures have taught me all these many years. You see, people don't want to hear about their sin condition because they don't want to be condemned. They don't want their heart to actually see themselves for who they really are. That's why we resist change. No, Pastor Dow's not religious. As a matter of fact, I don't have a religion whatsoever at all. I have the faith. And that's the faith of Abraham and the faith of Christ, because they both come from the same faith. And that's it. The belief that I have, the belief that has been given to me, that I'm honored to serve, is the Most High. He gave us laws, statutes, and commandments. He didn't give us religion. And the scripture says pure religion is undefiled before the fatherless. Which one is that? Who is doing that today? You see, this Christianity stuff is nothing but a bozo the clown. So it's a joke. You look at that TBN. You look at that Jezebel sitting up there. And you look at the majority of these women sitting up there. But I mean, I don't even want to get started on that. Let me stay the course. All right. But we are the divine judgment. CNN is not going to tell you, and Fox News is not going to tell you, that the reason why America is suffering right now is because as a man sow, that shall he also reapeth. They're not going to tell you that. Huh? As you have done, so shall it be done to you. So you can't go around sowing all this hell, all this tyranny, and all this terrorism worldwide. Look at the history of America. Just look at it. How in the world can you escape the judgment of the way that you treated the American Indians and the blacks and the transatlantic slave trade? How can you escape that? You see, when you read this book, when the children of Israel would sin against the Most High, it was their children that paid for that judgment. And now we're in the time to the third and fourth generation, way on down the road, that the children of the people who did all these atrocities are now paying for all of the atrocities and all of the injustices that has been done. Look at how many people America has killed all across this world. What nation is there right now that can fight against such a kingdom as this? We're an empire. Well, only the Most High. So I used the story of Job earlier to show you something. I want you to get your Bible to turn to Psalm 78. I'm going to show you what's taking place right now. I'm going to show you how that these floods, these typhoons, these hurricanes are all sent by evil angels. Now, it's amazing. Hollywood. We get entertained by Hollywood. We're deceived by Hollywood. We're deceived by actresses, basketball players, football players, MTV, all these other different sources. And they don't mind getting up, flashing satanic signs, the hook 'em horn signs of the pyramid, the left eye. And they don't mind doing all these different signs because they're part of the Illuminati or let's just forget about all the different names that people use. In secret, they have made an oath to Satan. And they know that this fallen satanic spirit lives. But then the majority of you Americans out there, you have no belief whatsoever at all. You don't believe in Satan. You don't believe in the Most High. And you automatically default to the side of Satan. And people don't want you to hear that. And you're going to still end up going to the same living, burning hell as those who serve Satan. That's, the Most High has always had a few people that served him. It has never been the majority. Even amongst his own people, that has never been a majority. It's always been a few. Just a few of us that really truly serve him. And that's it. And that's who Pastor Dow is. So in Psalm 78, I want to read something, because you remember all the plagues and everything that was going on in Egypt when the Most High was using Moses to deliver the people out of the house of bondage. You see, I'm going to bring us on point and tell us the truth of what's going on here today. Whereas most people, they want to exclude this from their conscience and mind and attribute it to some type of a natural disaster or natural way. Nobody ever wants to say that the reason why the world and America is under divine judgment is because we're wicked as hell. We're full of sin. We're full of iniquity and transgressions. The women look like Jezebels. They dress like street whores going to church. They wear attire of men. Men are now wearing attire of women. I mean, this thing is turned upside down. It's sad. But Psalm 78, and I'm going to start at verse 40, and we're going to read on down, because I got a particular verse I want to center out and show you. How did they provoke him in the wilderness and grieve him in the desert? Yea, they turned back and tempted God and limited the Holy One of Israel. Notice the Holy One of Israel, not the Holy One of Christians, not the Holy One of Muslims, not the Holy Ones of Buddhists, not the Holy Ones of Hindus, the Holy One of Israel. That's who the Most High is, the Yah of Israel. They remember not his hand, knowing the day when he delivered them from the enemy. See, Israel didn't even remember the Most High when they delivered him from the hand of the enemy. I know we're going to be saved from our enemies, so that's why we live righteous here at Straightway. Listen to this. And now he had wrought signs in Egypt and wonders in the field of Zoan, and had turned the rivers into blood and their floods that they could not drink. And he sent divers sorts of flies among them, which devoured them, and frogs, which destroyed them. And he gave their increase to the caterpillar, and their labor unto the locust. It isn't amazing that it seems like today that we grow crops, we do everything we can, and everything just gets tore up and ate up by pestilence. I mean, just these bugs, and then they, society creates all these chemicals to put into the food to get rid of the bugs, but then they turn around and put sickness and diseases in you. And that's why Pastor Dow tell you to stay away from the grocery stores. I understand that most of you cannot stay away from the grocery stores because you have done nothing to prepare yourself to live healthy. You know that you would eliminate 99% of the diseases that's going on in this world today if you would just simply grow your own food and not go eat these toxic, chemically indulged snake venom and monkey pulse, stuff that they shoot up. Do you know that people ain't never had no vaccines because of all the disease shot up in them? You don't know what they putting inside of you. But because we trust in this system and this society, we're falling and we're going down the same old toboggan slide into the eternal lake of fire, just like the old Roman Empire did. We're following the exact same steps if you would just read the books. But we don't want to read the books. You know why? Because we always think that there's going to be a better time. We're optimistic. We don't want to see judgment. We hate to even think about that if we're really truly here. And so therefore you are going to be what you call left behind. Hallelujah. And I'm not talking about no secret rapture of the church before the great tribulation, because there will be no rapture of the church before the great tribulation. It will not happen. The meek shall inherit the earth. Enough said on that. Now, let's go on. He destroyed their vines with hail and their sycamore trees with frost. Man, will we not have some serious frost? And hail is falling in the Midwest. I just got a report the other day that 72 feet of snow fell in the Midwest. Unheard of. All right, let's go on right here. I'm getting to this because I'm centering on verse 48. And he gave their cattle also to hail, and their flocks to hot thunderbolts. He cast upon them the fierceness of his anger and wrath and indignation, and trouble. How did he do it? How did the Most High bring judgment upon his people? Listen to this. By sending evil angels among them. Did y'all hear that? So whenever you see a typhoon, a tsunami, an earthquake, a tornado, a hurricane, rain, floods, that's because they're evil angels that's been sent. Now I'm going to tell you what we do here straightway, because we've had a tornado come through here. I believe it was in 2008, just literally almost decimate a quarter of the town. I mean, just killed a lot of people, dead bodies and trees and everything. And my wife woke me up. She said, what in the world is that? And I said, that's a tornado. It's right on top of us. And went open, barely could open up the door, looked out and saw. And the first thing I did, was rebuke the winds and rebuke the storms. Now, you know what? The tornado missed us, but it went and turned around and it destroyed all the other people. You know why? Because we are the saints of the Most High Yah. I know this is foolish to a carnal mind, you people's mind who is an enemy against the Most High. It does not make sense. It doesn't even compute to you. You're satisfied going to your pagan sun god churches, the Temple of Aphrodite, doing your golf clappings and stuff like they do with the John Hagin ministries. You like to think that this little plus lifestyle is going to continue to keep on going. It's not going to happen. The truth is, the reason why all these disasters happen in the world is because that's Satan destroying the creation of the Most High. Because many of us have been deceived and duped into believing in this so-called utopia. You know what we've got right now? We've got the spirits of Abaddon that's already loosed and running here up on this earth. Many of you don't understand the seals, the trumpets, and the vows because you listen to all these other preachers who give you eye candy and stuff. Yet still, I hope you can open up your eyes and see. So this flooding that's going on, that's because evil angels are doing it. The tsunamis, earthquakes, hurricanes are going because of evil angels. They're doing it. They're bringing about death. That's exactly what they're doing. Of disease and pestilence. You know what's going on? Evil angels. That's what's going on. And until you people can see that devils can also be inside of human beings, you'll never understand the power of and the influence of these spirits. That's the reason why they use Hollywood. You know, it's amazing how Hollywood believes in Satan, but the general public don't believe in him. Huh? I mean, that's amazing how Hollywood knows that the Most High exists, but they still choose to serve Satan because they're receiving their reward right now. That's the problem. That's the hook in the jaw of society today, because many of you have accepted your reward right now. You're living your selfish life. There's nothing that your life, nothing about your life that even contributes to the kingdom of God. Do you understand that in Noah's days, that in order for people to help Noah build the ark, they would have had to give of their life, give of their substance, give of their labor to the work of the Most High, and only 8 souls did that. Today, only thing we're ever going to do is just give our own selves. We protect what we call our own selves. And then when judgment comes, all of a sudden, when we want to knock on the door of the ark and we're going to want to come in, it's going to be too late then. See, you had your chance. The majority of you people who have amassed much riches, all kinds of money in this world, you have never done anything to help any work of the Most High whatsoever at all. You have lived for yourself and you're going to die for yourself. And that's just the truth. So all that you're going to ever be able to present if you make it to the kingdom is wood, hay, and stubble. And that's it. It's amazing how Abraham, being the first man of faith, tied to the king of Salem. It's amazing when I looked at the other day, this big old gigantic thing that they call a church. Looks like a city down at Eddie Long, some missionary Baptist church. I looked at that thing and I said, man, look at that thing. You know the reason why? Because people will get behind people who are not going to tell them that they're not living right. If they can justify your iniquity, your sin, and kind of sugarcoat it, they give to it. And can you imagine all the money in that? Do you understand what Pastor Dow could have done if I had the kind of money that they had in these years? I could have amassed a city to the Most High here on this earth. Big old gigantic landmass. And been able to house the saints. And to be able to grow our own food. Have our own influence in this world. But Satan fights us hard. And he mostly fights us through the ignorant of religious folks who don't understand what's going on. Now listen to me. This video is not for you people who have no faith and don't believe whatsoever at all. I'm not talking about silver and gold in this. I'm not talking about storing food in this video. This video is not for you if you made it this far. This is for those whose heart is being pulled and they really truly want to be converted. It's amazing how we could be deceived by these systems and give of our substance and life to them. But then when it comes to the Most High, we can't give anything. But anyway, verse 50, and he made a way to his anger, and he spared not their soul from death, but he gave their life over to pestilence. And he smote the firstborn in Egypt. Isn't that something? The chief of their strength in the tabernacles of Ham. So this is what's going on today. We're under divine judgment. And I get a lot of questions of people asking me, Pastor Dow, where here in the United States of America is there a place doing what you're doing? Believe what y'all believe. Doing what you're doing. I'm sorry to inform you that I don't know of any. I really, truly don't. Now, there are men who are trying to move this way. There are men who are trying to, their last hour labor is trying to do it. But over the years, you better believe, Pastor Dow, I have tried my best to help men, to help small congregations. I've traveled from one end of the United States to the next. Thought that these would be the people. But then they will let some doctrine from their past religion or some wicked way usher in, and it would block them because they didn't understand. No matter how much I showed them in the Bible, because it did not agree with the way that they was religiously raised, they couldn't do it. And then you know what? They're still in the same snare to the system, just like everybody else is. And so I've tried. I really, truly have tried. And I can actually take you to these people's place where I've literally tried to get the people together, to get them in one heart and one mind. But people are selfish today. They don't want that. They don't want to be inconvenient. They're comfortable. They don't want to pay the price right now, so that we can be kings and priests later, because their minds are twisted, warped, and distorted. So I have tried. I've been all over this place to try to help create small little communities like this that believers could get together and work together. And so that's the reason why I'm here this morning, because I can't reach the preachers and the teachers. They're not going to be reached. They're already gone. They are actually used to deceive the people. That's why I make appeals to you, the people. That's why I preach to you, the people. Forget them preachers. I had to forget all the preachers that I ever know. I had to throw them away, because if I would have stayed up under them, I'd have been in the same mess. Same thing that they're under today. I had to get out here, leave my father's house, just like Abraham, so that I could actually hear the Most High. And you've seen the videos. This is why I live the way I live. But hey, it does. Meaning you don't have goats, you don't have gold, you don't have silver, you do have Federal Reserve notes. That's what it takes. It takes the contribution of that. It takes the contribution of real money, sound money, and currency in order to get a work like this going. We just didn't wake up one morning and said, bam, it was here. I saw this in my late 20s and early 30s, and I began to move with fear. I received a lot of ridicule. I've been called everything under the sun. People have cast my name out as dung. I have been cursed out. I have men forsaken me and betrayed me, yet and still I stayed a plumb line and I stayed a course, because I know what's going on and I know what's getting ready to happen. Sorry, whether people believe it or not, I'm actually one of the end time pastors, one of the end time messengers to help prepare this house. The problem is I can't get anybody in this end time, just like Noah couldn't get, to contribute greatly to the work of the Most High. So I can't have everybody to come live here, because I have a lot of people that are selfish. When you go read in the book of Nahum, the 3rd chapter, it records horsemen, and it talks about, witchcraft and how nations are going to be sold to it. That's what this country is. Hollywood believes in Satan. The church don't believe in him because they serve Satan and don't even realize it. So I'm here to help you to get separated and free from that system. That's why I tell you, keep the commandments and live. If you keep the commandments, you shall feel no evil thing. So I don't have what you call a life like it. Hey, Sister Carol and I could have easily had us a nice $300,000 home, because both of us worked, and we worked very hard. Could have had our own nice 2-3 car garage. Nice little picket fence, raised our children in public school, and lived just like everybody else. But when the Most High dealt with my heart, when he showed me my wicked way, and I repented from my sins and turned from it, changed my whole entire life. No, I did just like Abraham did. I followed in the same footsteps as my ancient ancestors. And so in the midst of this wicked, vile, corrupt, and cursed generation that we're living in, while all these judgments are going on around us, we're being blessed. So I've told you many, many times to prepare the house, just like Joseph did when he saw that there was a famine going to be in the land. He went and he stored food. So I'll try my best to tell all you people the things that you need to do. And as we continue, every day that goes by is a day that you missed to prepare. And the truth is, many of you are not going to make it. And that's just true. A lot of people are going to die. You're really, truly going to die because you have not prepared your house. This system has trained you to trust in your 401ks, your IRAs, your CDs, your mutual funds, your bank accounts, and you trust in uncertain riches. You have never sold to the kingdom, and your riches and your money is going to perish with you. And that is the truth. And that's the truth straight way. So the brother and sister here that are straightway, every single one of them have made the sacrifice of a lifetime. What you see on these videos and what you see us doing, it came by sacrifice. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears. It really, truly did. Which most people would never volunteer for because they're comfortable. You're comfortable. See, it's easy to live in your little own home, on your little old land, where there's nobody else around to disturb you in your little old house. That's easy to do, but that's not a sacrifice. That is not a sacrifice. But everything that you trust in is eroding right off from under your feet right now. We're warned of in this last generation that this will be an effeminate generation. The sin of homosexuality is just destroying this country. The sin of lesbianism is just destroying this country. It's eroding the moral fabric. We're spiritually bankrupt, and we're morally decayed. It's sad what's going on in the time that we're living in right now. Anyway, I'm looking up at the clock. I have to get out of here and go get my hands to working because I have things I have to do to prepare the ark. So I've tried. You go back and look at some of my archive videos. I've tried to get men together. They don't want to do it. They don't want to heed the call. You know why? Because they have not been called by the Most High Yah to prepare an ark. That's what we're doing. We're preparing an ark of safety. Well, past Dow, they can send in predator drones. They can do, yeah, they can do that, can't they? But they ain't done it. What makes you think they can? They cannot do anything to us unless the Most High allows them. See, I'm a man of faith. I keep the laws, the statutes, and commandments and live by them. So I can't be seduced and deceived by your doubts and unbeliefs and your religious ways. You're going to find out that Christianity has failed you and failed you greatly. Many of you are going to lose your faith when you find out that there's not going to be a rapture of the church before the great tribulation. And when you're going to look up and wake up your eyes one day, you're going to see you're right in the midst of hell here on this earth. And when your fear and your desolation come up on you, that's when the Most High is going to mock you. Because you refuse to turn from your iniquity. You refuse to acknowledge your ways. You refuse to humble yourself. So therefore you're going to experience the judgment. And whosoever you yield your members, servants to obey on this earth, selfishness, my way, my don't inconvenience me. Let me do things my way. And all this, guess what? That's nothing but selfishness. That's greed. That's lust. That's your own ambition. Guess what? You yielded your members to that servant, and that kingdom is of Satan. Guess what? That's who kingdom you are. So I know that many people hate to hear this, but the death angel and all of his hordes is riding up on the earth right now. Look at how many people have been killed on this earth. Let's just go back 1 year. Look at how many people have been killed on this earth. Not by wars. Oh, people are dying by wars, but not as many people been killed by these so-called natural disasters. Let's just tell the truth. The earth is under judgment because of iniquity, and the final judgment of this earth is it will be destroyed by fire. And that is the truth, and that is the truth straight way. I hope that you have the ears to hear. That is my prayer. The King is coming.